Alright, let's start in on our wash, which is one even layer. It's going to be the same color all the way down. So to mix your paint first, you want to get some puddles, a good amount of puddle of water to start with, in one of your paint palette holes. See how I've got lots of water in there. Now I'm going to pick up just a little bit of paint, and I think I'll do orange for this one, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit of paint, mix it there, and then get enough, so I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm mixing my paint. I have to mix paint with water. This is watercolor. You cannot use it straight out of the paint here. It has to be mixed with water. You want it darker, you keep adding more color, but it cannot be thick, especially not for this. You want almost the whole thing filled. I'm going to get more water because I want to make sure it's going to last me enough. And I kind of roll my brush against the edge to get that water to release into there. Okay, so I've got my paint mixed. Now I don't need this. I'm going to use my bigger brush to do this. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how simple this is. Start at the top. You go across. Do not pick up your paintbrush. Go back across. Now see how I had that puddle? I'm going to keep dropping down just a little bit. And that puddle disappears. It starts moving down. Now as I run out of paint, so I'm going to come back, pick it up. I'm going to go back to where I left off. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go across. And then back underneath. Drop it down a little bit. Go back and forth. Keep going back and forth. Just dropping down just a little bit. I'm going to pull that down a little bit because I got too much in that spot. Nice and even across. Pick up more paint because it just ran out. I'm going to pick up where I left off. Go across. I'm just making that puddle keep moving down. I'm making the puddle constantly moving down. Get more paint. Make sure you're using the mixed paint and not your paint straight out of the palette. All the way to the bottom. Now see, my color never changed. So that's a wash. That's an even wash. Clean up my brush. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get you started on the glaze, because the glaze is layers, and we have to let each layer dry between. So, mix a color again. You can use the same color, or you can start with a different color. I don't care which. I'm going to start with a new color, so I'm going to start with water again. Get water on my painting. Okay, then I'm going to get some purple. I'm going to make this a purple. Now if you want a darker purple, that would be your second layer. You can do another purple. You want a richer purple. But this first layer is just going to be a light purple. Alright, so we're going to do a wash again for the glaze. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go across. Drop down a little bit, come back across, drop down. I'm already out of paint, so I pick up more. Go across, down, across, down, across, down, across, down, across, down. Pick up more paint, across, down a little bit. More paint. The watercolor is not fast. Take your time doing this glaze. You go all the way down to the bottom. Work on keeping it even. Notice I don't go back over any spot. I just keep it moving down. Okay, so there's my first layer for the glaze. Clean my brush out. I'm going to set this one off to the side. Yours should all be attached. Now we're going to do the graded wash. The graded wash, I'm going to add more purple to this purple that I have here. Do not start with a full container. You want to get quite a bit of paint in there with the water. So it's pretty dark. So it starts out dark. Mixed with my, I just used that purple I already had. I'm adding more purple to it to make it darker. So I'm going to start out with a dark, and I'm going to gradually add more water to gradually make it lighter. So, graded wash. Start at the top. Go across. It's still a wash. Drop down. Go across. Drop down. Go across. Pick up a little more. Okay, and I'm going to add water. I'm going to add some water to this to lighten it up. I'm going to pick up where I left off. Pick up more paint. Start to get low on paint, I pick up more. Okay, I'm going to add more water. think I might even switch because mine's full already. I'll switch to a new spot here, make it much lighter. Keep pulling that puddle down. When you get to the end, just lift your brush, kind of pull it to the side and lift it up. So there's a graded wash, so it goes from a darker to a lighter, just by starting out with less water, more paint, and gradually adding water to it. That's your graded wash. Now we're going to do spatter. Spatter takes two brushes. One has to have the paint on it, the other has to have used to tap it. You can use the same color, you can use a new color, I don't care which. I'm just going to use this purple. And I'm just going to take and tap it, hold it loosely in my hand. See, I don't hold it tight because it's got to be able to move. Just loosely in my hand, tap it with my other brush. And this is a little more controlled, a little less messy. You're still going to get spatter kind of all over the place. You get more paint. I can change colors. Put a little more orange in there. A little bit darker orange, and I'm going to spatter with the orange. It is going to go on some of your others unless you have it masked off. And I'll explain how to mask it off in a little bit. Okay, so there's spatter. That's all there is to spatter. Wet into wet. Wet into wet makes kind of fuzzy edges. So, have your paint mix up that you want to use. Start with water. Pick up whatever color you want to make. I think I'll make a yellow-green this time. So I'm going to get some yellow. Remember, you still start with your lighter color. Clean my brush out before I get the other color. Now I'm going to get some green. Now I've got a yellow-green. And I want a blue. Start with water, add your blue. Or whatever color you're making. Always start with water, then start with your lighter color if you're mixing colors. Okay. So I'm going to put this yellow-green down real quick. And I've got to move fairly quickly. Before it dries, I'm going to put the glue into it so you can see what happens. Okay. Yellow-green's down. Clean up my brush real quick. Pick up some of the blue, and I'm just going to put a line through it. And watch it bleed out, kind of. It gets those fuzzy edges. A little bit harder to see because of the glare. See if I can get rid of that glare. So if you don't want those fuzzy edges, then don't put one color next to the other because you're going to run into that. Now I put some blue down. Now I can take and put some of this purple through it. See, I just kind of goes way out, kind of spreads out. That's wet into wet. That's what's called wet into wet. Okay, we'll come back to masking tape. I want to do bleeding next. Bleeding is similar to wet into wet. It's kind of the same concept. Have your color mixed. Get your paper wet. Then just pick up your color and put dots. And watch it spread out, bleed out. Some orange. Yellow green. It doesn't show up as well because it's a lighter color, but it's still there. Kind of like fireworks. Just kind of spreads out, but these are dots that spread out instead of putting a line through it or running the two colors next to each other. Okay, let's do paper towel blocks. You need a piece of paper towel, a dry piece. Put this up a little more so you can see it. There we go. Alright, paper towel block. I still got plenty of purple. You can mix a new color if you want. Okay, I'm going to use purple. So I'm going to take and do my wash of purple. And again, I want to make sure this doesn't dry before I use the paper towel on it. So I got to move a little bit faster. Okay, got some on there. Now I'm just going to take my paper towel, crumple it up, and remove some, just kind of create a pattern in there. That's all there is to paper towel block. Put some paint down. Take my paper towel, scrunch it up, remove some of it. You can remove a lot of it, you can remove just a little bit. It's up to you how much of a pattern you want to create. There's the paper towel block. Masking tape block. Pretty much what it says. Masking tape block is pretty much what it says. You're going to take some masking tape. You want to preserve the white now because there is no white paint in watercolors. You put your paint down, tape down, wherever you want to keep the white. You can do any design you want. You want sharp edges, clean edges, then use the edges. If you want kind of the torn edges, you can use the torn edges. Doesn't matter to me which one you use. Then mix your paint. I'm going to stick with this purple because I still got plenty of it. Right now I don't care too much about color because this is all just practice. And I'm going to go over it, over the whole thing. Including the tape. Go back and forth. You can do other colors if you want. I'm just doing the one. Should I carry that puddle so I don't end up with a puddle? Once this is dry, I'll remove the tape and I'll have a white, all my white underneath the tape will still be there. So I have to remove the tape very carefully.